Hey, it's Marilyn Devonish here. So I'm just going to check that you can see me and hear me on social media. And then I'll hit the record key and we'll get started here as well. So let me just pull up my page. Yeah, I think we're cooking with gas. 1 second. Let me just make sure I can hear myself. See me and hear me on social media. Cool. And then I'll hit the record key and we'll get started here. Okay, so cooking with gas. So let me record and let's rock and roll. Hey, so hello and welcome. It's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and we're kind of going to look at a number of things. So I did consider doing individual lives for each of them. So one for the money breakthrough, one for the fearless public speaking, one for the transformation program, one for the 19-year. And then it's like, do you know what? I'll be doing Facebook lives all day. So let's just kind of do it in one hit. And see how we go. So it's Roundup time. What I'm going to also do with this one, actually, let me just show you what I'm going to do with this one. But what I am going to do with this one also, hold on, do that, is take you through a number of things. We're going to talk about, first of all, why do I do offers? Because that somebody has asked me, well, lots of people have asked me that question, and a few people have said you shouldn't. Number two, we're going to look at the 19-year anniversary offer, which is the money breakthrough online combo. I also share with you some of the amazing and miraculous things that have happened for people as a result of doing those programs. We're also going to look at the offer of the month, which is the one-day HUNA video webinar workshop, let you know how you can get that at a 30% saving. We're going to look at some client testimonials and results and answer some of the questions I have about how do things work when they're online, and do the clearing still work, and what results do people get, and what is it like doing these online workshops. So we'll talk a bit about that. There's also 20% off if you're watching this in real time for the next photo reading workshop. I've also got coming up the Fearless Public Speaking one-day video webinar, and I'm also going to share with you some money breakthrough exercises at the end of this, just so you get a taster of what the online programs are like and the sort of things we're doing, and also share with you some tips for the Fearless Public Speaking. So that's what we have coming up. And there's also something that is hot off the press in terms of the FLP, the Future Life Progression Online Expo. So the creator of Future Life Progression, Anne Jersh, has agreed to speak. I've also had probably 7 or 8 other people apply to speak as well. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the online expo, because that's just so cool. So stay with me for that one as well. So the big why. There are 3 main reasons why I do special offers, early booking price, pre-launches, etc. Normally the pre-launches are just for people on my e-newsletter list, and if there are any left over, then I put those on social media. But number 1, it's to help people who are in a similar position to the position that I was in when I first came across personal development. Now, had it not been for the help of a partner, we had split up. He'd had an affair. It's a very long story. I've told it before, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, the long and the short of it is, if he hadn't then, when we split up, given me some money to see me through the next couple of months, because the plan was, I had given up work to become a chartered accountant. Prior to that, I was working at an investment bank in the city, and the plan was that I would get my chartered accountancy done. Once I'd completed and qualified, he would then take some time off to do his pilot's license. In the interim, we split up, reasons aforementioned, and so then I'm out of work because I'd given up my job to study. And so if it wasn't for him giving me some money to see me through, and I'm eternally grateful for that, I would not have been able to do the personal development training that I've done. And so I know that for whatever reason, people might find themselves in difficult and challenging circumstances, but still want, etc., to do this work. And so that's one of the reasons why I always do the pre-launch. I always do the early booking offers, just in case there's anyone who thinks, actually, I need a better deal than paying full price. That's number 1. Number 2 is I love a bargain. I always have. I used to work in retail. I worked for something. Well, it doesn't exist anymore. It's called Barkers of Kensington, and it was part. Then it was part of the Harrods Group. So Harrods was a flagship store. Barkers of Kensington was second in line in terms of prestige, etc. So I worked in retail. I worked in the accounts department and export, but of course I had to walk across the shop floor, and I did a lot of shopping in Harrods because I had a staff discount card. And I just always loved the idea of sales and special offers and Blue Cross and Red Cross and Green Cross and this cross. I always just found it really fun. And what was, seriously, I totally loved to get something and go, oh my God, this is worth X £100. and I got it for 100 quid. I love that. I still get a buzz from that to this day. So that's the second reason why I do it, because I'm pretty sure there are people out me who like a good deal as well. And then the third reason, and this is more of a practical thing, is to help with my forward planning, particularly when I'm doing in-person events, running workshops. I'm now in a position where previously I had very good relationship and deal with the hotel that I use. So I could actually push it and leave it, several weeks before I actually confirmed on a contract. The deal is now that as soon as I say I'd like to book a room, even if I'm booking a room 12, 13 months in advance, they still want me to sign that contract straight away. And so one of the things that doing early booking prices does is for people who are sort of umming and ahhing and on the fence, and then they go, oh, actually, that's a really good price. And gosh, that's 20% off, 30%, whatever it is a really brilliant saving. They'll just make a decision to do it, get it sorted out. What that does is it lets me know that my numbers are sorted as well. And I know that there are kind of people in the room. So that's the third reason why I do it, just for people who have asked. So let's get into what we have this month. Number one, if you're watching this in real time, October 2000 was when I first wandered into that personal development training room. And David, the guy I trained with, said, yeah, I remember that day well, because I was a little bit of a nuisance in terms of all my questions, etc. What he said on Facebook a couple of days ago was, yeah, you came to it with an accountant and business mind. That probably wasn't the most helpful. And I also came to it at the mindset wary of the fact that now I have given up work and I'm on this training. Number one, I didn't believe in all that stuff. I just thought it was a load of nonsense. How can you talk to someone and change your life? That was just whoosh, way over my head. But number two, I was aware of my financial situation. That course cost several £1,000s. And so that would have been really useful. And that would have seen me through a couple of months. So, a couple of things going on there. But yeah, I like to do something to mark the anniversary. I didn't do anything this year because normally what I do is I do an offer on the one-day breakthrough session, which is the thing that was just absolutely pivotal in turning everything around for me. This year, I just have not had the time and capacity to even think about doing breakthrough sessions at anything other than full price. So I thought I'm going to have to give that one a miss. And so I was just going to leave it. And then suddenly, having finished all of the kind of money breakthrough, the 28-day e-coaching program, the one-day money breakthrough workshop, which we ran last weekend, the 10-part Raising Your Money Vibration series, I thought, actually, do you know what? Those products have now just been created. Why not do a deal on those? So what you've got in that anniversary deal, you've got the Money Breakthrough e-coaching program. That's a 28-day program that you receive every single day into your email inbox. So there's a £70 saving on that one. There's the 10-part Raising Your Money Vibration series, which is a video webinar workshop in the platform that I'm using now. So it's a similar setup to this. You've got the exercises on the screen. You've got me in the corner, depending on which side you're looking. And then we had the ongoing chat. So what you will hear is me answering questions from the audience as people are typing in terms of how the program was run. And that one, in terms of running time, is probably about 22 hours of content. So it's filmed as 10 separate segments, plus there's a bonus one. So that's £100 saving on that. We've got the one-day money breakthrough video webinar workshop. Running time on that one is 8 hours. So that I've just run that one last weekend. There is a breakthrough session, Skype coaching breakthrough sessions. There's saving £100. And then there's a combo deal on that. So that's that in a nutshell. So that's the page you're going to be looking for. What I will do when I finish running this video is I'll put the links into the comments of the thread. And if you've got any questions in the meantime, for those of you who are watching live on Facebook, then feel free to put those in. So that's the page, and what you'll see when you get to that booking page is everything is listed, and you just click on the one that you want, or if you wanted to do maybe 2 out of those, or 3, but if you want to do 3, go for the combo. There's a bigger saving. So that's the page that you'll get for that. Now, in terms of what people have said about that first 28-day e-coaching program, I'm only going to pick 1 or 2 examples from each, otherwise we'll be here all night, trust me. So this is from Amana, who took part when I first launched it. God, how many years ago was that now? Probably, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. So she said, we rarely examine our relationship with money, yet if we took the time, we might be amazed at how much it says about our relationship with people, ... Be bold. Take the first step to improve your relationship with money, and you might be pleasantly surprised. I recommend this program, and it does more, in capital letters, than what it says on the tin. So that's the 28-day e-coaching program, and the exercises, you get a 2-page PDF. anywhere from 4 to 8 steps. And the exercises, if you want to do what I call the very quick version, takes you about 5 minutes. Because some of them are guided processes, you can put more time into that if you want. So that's the first program. Second is the Raising Your Money Vibration 10-part video webinar series. So what you can see on the screen now, and actually if you're watching this in a few weeks, few months, or even a few years time, never mind the offers because they would have expired, because they're expiring in 2 days from, well, a day and a half from now. But you can go to www.moneyvibration.eventbrite.com, which you can see on the screen if you're watching this rather than just listening. And you'll find all of the information there. It will just be at whatever the prevailing current price is. But if you're looking at this for the offer, I'll give you the link for that in a few minutes. But what we're covering on this one, in a nutshell, I changed the order a bit depending on the group and where we were at and what was most important to work on. But it does include part one is clearing money beliefs. We do a segment on cutting ancestral, genealogical and karmic ties. We do the past life readings and healing your money relationship. Your past life reading was freaky. You know, there was a past life that I saw for someone when I was doing readings for people on it as well. And I described something and they went, oh yeah, that's how I grew up. But I was talking about, this is what I saw in the past life, and I'm not sure if it relates to your life now. And they were like, yeah, totally. So that was a little bit freaky. We've got clearing negative emotions, limiting beliefs, judgments and possibilities. So there's that one. Yes, we do the Huna and Access Consciousness. I'm just checking. Oh, we're cool. Hold on a minute. Yeah. All right. Just making sure it wasn't something about the video stream, but we're good. Oh, lovely. Let me just do that. Love those. So we've got that. We've got, this one was cool. Meeting the ultimate best version of you and the most abundant version of you. Oh, my life. So we did a guided future life progression session for that one. And I'll talk more about future life progression when I tell you about the FLP Online Expo, but that was just mind blowing. We had the Soul of Money guided meditation. That was very deep as well. We did a thing with the Huna energy clearing and the chakra clearing. We did the Ho'oponopono cord cutting process. So I know there's a version of Ho'oponopono that floats around social media with the words, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. Those are lovely. And the version of Ho'oponopono that I learned out in Hawaii had nothing to do with those words, and it's an actual process. So I take people through that process with the stage, the Huna guides, the cutting the connections, Arca connections, etc. We did a members choice session. That one was the one about, clearing remnants from the past. That was the one. And then we did the soul blueprint and soul realignment piece. So that was that. In terms of what people said about this is from the lovely Pippa, who took part from Australia, because on this program we had people from the UK, from Europe. We also had Canada, America and Australia taking part. And Pippa just so loved the energy and dynamic. She was getting up at like 4:30, 5:30 a.m. depending what time we scheduled the calls. So she says, I loved it all, worth getting up for at 5:30 a.m. exclamation mark. And then she's talking about one of the processes we did, and oh wowza, Marilyn, that was huge, exclamation mark, huge in capital letters. So yeah, great fun with that one. So that's the 10-part Raising Your Money Vibration series. We also had some really cool stuff happen. At the moment people made a decision to sign up and they booked their place and paid, I started getting emails from people asking me if I'd Huna'd the program before we started. This is one of those emails. So it says, hi Marilyn, just watched part 1 replay of the webinar of the Intuition Accelerator Stroke Supercharger. Very interesting. I'd like to learn more. How do I get, so it's about how to get access. And then he says, by the way, it's looking like the financial windfall is now going to be in multiple capital letters, 6 figures from across the next 12 months for me, which is very cool. It is indeed. Thank you for sending the Huna energy intention. Have a great week and keep producing fabulous content for us to learn from. And actually, I got told off a little bit on Saturday because I ran the One Day Money Breakthrough workshop. He was on it. So in the break, I did a Facebook Live and I was talking about the fact that we're all doing the exercises. I'm asking people about what beliefs they have about money, what's the genealogy, what's the relationship, and there's a load of negative stuff coming back apart from this person, because they're saying, oh, relationship with money, I love money. Money is power. And it just coming out with stuff that actually it's just like, and at one point I was like, is he doing the same exercises as the rest of us? I was like, what's going on? And then it turns out he's saying, Marilyn, I can't find one negative thing to say about money because of the shifts and changes that he'd had, because we finished the Raising Your Money vibration on the 27th of September. And I ran this workshop that we're talking about now, the one-day money breakthrough, on the 26th of October. So there's a month. The shift and changes that he'd had in that month, all the exercises what he did first, he's like, yeah, I'm good, because there was nothing. So, but then he said, I saw your Facebook Live, really great. You didn't mention my multiple six figures. So he had some really cool stuff happen as a result of that. This was someone else who, when they signed up for the Raising Your Money vibration, hello, lovely. Oh, this is Pippa again. I love Pippa. She's so, you just got people who give the most wonderful feedback. And whenever you say I'd love feedback about X, Y, Z, they're always on it. Pippa, and check her out. She's a therapist out in Australia. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put a link to her page in the video description as well. So it says, hello, lovely. Thought you'd be sleeping by now. You know me, I'm on a 24-hour clock sometimes. It says, firstly, and very excitingly, I've been contacted by a local business with the possibility of combining our skills to provide corporate experiences. As I say, super exciting. She says, secondly, I plucked up the courage yesterday evening to ask some clients if they had any contacts for me to run my meditations in the corporate environment, and a couple of them said they'd share my details. And thirdly, it came to me this morning that I am mirroring my mother's financial patterns, and then I realized and she says I'm naturally keen to break those patterns and move forward. So what people were noticing as soon as they signed up, they were noticing changes within themselves, and they were noticing things happening in their environment and their businesses as well. And that's why people were messaging me and going, I know we haven't started the program yet, but did you do some Huna? And the answer to that is yes, I did. So we then have the one-day money breakthrough video webinar workshop. So it's similar experience to what we're doing now, except that we've got the chat and I'm answering questions, etc. And all of that is on camera. So with that one, in a nutshell, we're looking at exploring your relationship with money, expanding your soul awareness and consciousness, uncovering your money genealogy, because some of those old things that you pick up from your family, society, etc., can have an impact, changing old dichotomies and paradigms, removing, releasing, resolving old limiting beliefs. And it's a mix of experiential exercises, energy clearings, coaching exercises. There's some introspection stuff. We've got some journaling. So it's a real mixture of things that we're doing in that one-day workshop. So this is the quote from Dave, who's an entrepreneur who took part in both the Raising Your Money vibration and the workshop that I ran a few days ago. So he says, first of all, morning, Marilyn, saw your Facebook Live, very cool, but you didn't mention my multiple six-figure increase from your Huna intention. So I then had to go back and do a second video. What he said in the room when I was like, is he doing the same exercises as us? Because everybody's coming back with, oh, well, watch the other video. I shared some of that. But he says, such a shift. I was sitting here and I couldn't think of any bad, in capital letters, any bad phrases for money. So that's a really, really lovely shift from doing the, and I actually wondered about that actually. I was thinking if, and it's just so happens that he did both. I was like, I wonder what happened if people who did that came and did the other one, and that's what happened. So that is really very cool. So that's that. Now, in terms of the Skype coaching, this is one of the clients that I worked with when I first launched the program. So they did the 28-day e-coaching program and Skype coaching sessions. And they said for the first time in 4 years, both my business and personal accounts have positive balances. It is major, exclamation mark. And I do remember when I got that email, I read it and I thought, well, that's not very impressive. And then I realized the magnitude of that statement. If you're always overdrawn and borrowing money to make the rent, etc., having positive balances is and get into that neutral point and then moving positive, that is really, really impressive. So that was from someone who did the Skype coaching. This was from someone who did the 28-day, and that's why I put it together as a combo. They did the 28-day e-coaching program, they then did the Skype coaching, and they took part in the 10-part Raising Your Money vibration. And so I got an email. And some of you might know the lovely Anne Coppins from Gamification Nation. If you don't and you're interested in gamification, check her out. If you can catch her, that is, she speaks all over the world now. But she says, Marilyn, kudos to you here. We grew by 300% since last year. And when I read that, I immediately got goosebumps, because I remembered one of my other clients, lovely guy called David Key from Auspicium Limited. And when we did a one-day breakthrough session together, although we split that one in 2 halves, he said, my revenue is up by 300% since working with you, Marilyn. And so what you can do if you want to hear him, that's on my, go to my website, transformationstm.com, go to the testimonials page. There's a video with David talking about that in his own words, so you can go and check that out. So, few offer of the month, and if you've got any questions and you're watching this on Facebook, then please feel free to type them in. I'll cycle back, and also you can put them in Messenger, which actually is probably going to be more efficient, because the way Facebook comments, they don't always show up in real time. It's often after I finish. So if you want to put anything into Messenger, feel free to do that as well. So the offer of the month, I don't have an offer every single month, but you know, when I do, this is it. So for this month, it's the HUNA one-day video webinar workshop. And when I was asking people for 5 words that would describe the workshop, they said things like inspiring, healing, motivating, fulfilling, worth it. And I always laugh, because often when I say to people 5 words, which isn't many because I know they could go on, there's normally somebody who sneaks in a couple of hyphenated ones. So that's kind of gives you a flavor of what to expect. Oh, and actually, if you're watching this in a couple of weeks' time and the offer is over, you will find information at hunaintro.eventbrite.com. and it's there on the bottom of the screen. The one-day HUNA video webinar workshop. So it's like this format again. It was filmed with an interactive audience, so you get to hear the answers to the questions that they were asking. It's on demand because it's already been filmed. So once you have purchased your place, you'll have instant access to that, and you've got lifetime access to the material. And the running time on that one is about 8.5 hours. So if you want to find any of the offers that I'm talking about, and if you're watching this a few days, few weeks, 3 months from now, the offers will always be on this page. So go to www.bit.ly/current offers TM. So bit.ly/current offers OFFERS TM, as in transformations. So current offers TM, and that's where you'll find whatever the latest offer is in real time, if the offers I'm talking about here have expired. So that's the one-day HUNA video webinar workshop. What we're looking at on that one, HUNA lineage in history, so you get a sense of the background. We're looking at the power of words and the HUNA symbols, the HUNA foundation, some of the kind of main applications. We're looking at the assumptions of HUNA magic, which I think is one of my favorites. And they use the word magic like we use the word water. But fascinating stuff when you hear the assumptions of HUNA magic, because you realize it underpins a lot of what we now do in kind of modern day personal development. We've got experiential exercises, so you get to experience the symbols and the power of the words, etc. We've got the introduction to Ho'oponopono and higher self therapy, which is the kind of fuller version of kind of what people talk about on social media. We've got the waking meditation, which is absolutely brilliant, particularly if you go over there, anybody out there is stressed, working in a busy open plan office, feeling overwhelmed. The waking meditation is brilliant for that. And then we've got some of my favorite rituals and daily practices in terms of how you can bring the HUNA more into your daily life. So that's what we cover on the workshop. And we're going to also look at the symbols, and we use the symbols, so you'll get an experience of what it feels like to be on the receiving end of those. And I'll talk about how the energy of that travels in the recordings a bit later, so we get to play with those. And also there have just been so many examples. I could sit here for several hours and share them with you, but this is one from a client of mine. And in a nutshell, there was a neighbor had parked a rusty car partly on his driveway. So whenever he had visitors, they had to sort of park on the neighbor's driveway. The neighbor would then come out and start an altercation. And this had gone on for kind of nearly a year. My client then had another run-in, kind of had phoned me that day. So while he's in his car, said, okay, pull over, let's just do some, HUNA. So I'm on the phone doing the off he goes. Next day, his wife opens the door. She calls him, says, come here. car's gone as if by magic. And he sent me a message saying, Anna thinks you're a white witch, because he could not understand how this has been going on for nearly a year. We do a few minutes of Huna over the phone, car's gone the next day. So we have some crazy cool stuff that happens like that. And overall, in terms of what people have said about the workshop, I've just pulled some of the things off the feedback forms. It's insightful, energetic, exciting, revealing, practical, impactful, value, resourceful, excellent, powerful, deep, unmissable, inspiring, clearing, magical, and comprehensive in terms of what we managed to get through and cover. So if you want any information about that outside of the offer, once the 30% off has expired, go to hunaintro.eventbrite.com. So that's that one. Now, the favorites, Huna and Access Consciousness. One second. Huna and Access Consciousness, always a favorite combination. And so in all of the programs that I've mentioned so far, actually there is a little bit in the 28 day. I've given you, yeah, it is in there as well in terms of just some ways that you can use it. But in terms of the Raising Your Money Vibration, the 1-day video webinar workshop and the Huna workshop, we do have some Access Consciousness and Huna included in those programs as well, because a combination of those two things I've found has been super powerful. So what you can see on the screen is Gary Douglas, the creator of Access Consciousness, and that's Dr. Dane here. Before I said the guy in the leather jacket on my right, but they're both wearing leather jackets, and they're both wearing similar color shirts, which is interesting. But where you can see most of me standing in front of the stage, that's Dr. Dane here. And that's when they came over to London. So I did my level 2 and level 3 Access Consciousness training with Gary and Dane. So we'll do a bit of that. And just to give you a flavor of what people experience with the Huna. So this is from someone on my photo reading workshop, where I do on the Friday evening, I do a bonus belief change session where I do some Huna energy clearings to help people shift and change their mindset when it comes to believing that they are capable of reading at 25,000 words per minute, that it is possible to photo read a whole book from start to finish in 5 minutes and then learn strategies to remember and recall what you've read. And I've realized the way to help people move through that learning curve more smoothly is to help them change their beliefs and their mindset. So we do that on the Friday evening. So this was one of the attendees. Lovely lady called Parvinder. Some of you might know her husband, Suki Wahiwala. So she says, talk about grabbing the bull by the horns. When you did the Huna healing on me, oh my God, I couldn't believe how accurate your diagnosis was. You didn't tell me you were a doctor as well as everything else. And that was the one where her daughters were there as well. And it was kind of this time of year, if I'm running the workshop this time of year, by the time we get to 7 o'clock, which is when I do it, it's dark outside, and even if it's not, I close the curtains and I actually turn the lights off. I just leave the 2 spotlights at the front on so I can see to walk around. And so I'm just walking around to people. I will lean in and say, what would you like? Do you want to, calm things down, open things up, have more motivation and energy, open up your creativity, whatever it is? And so people have got a preference, they'll say, or they'll go, oh, whatever. And then I'll do a couple of minutes with each person. So they normally have their eyes closed. I'm often standing behind them, and all they'll hear is as I'm doing the Huna. So for some reason, I don't know why, also, I don't know, I felt compelled to stand behind her daughter and do some work on her shoulder. So we get to the end, we're doing a debrief, and people are saying, and this is where somebody said, oh my God, when you're standing over my head, I felt like a waterfall. And I had to smile, because of what they didn't know is I'd done kind of the water symbol over their head, just to kind of wash away stuff that wasn't serving them. When I worked with Parv's daughter, she said, I kind of put my shoulder out this week, and that you wouldn't have known to look at her because they've got 2 really big guard dogs. And she'd taken the dog out, and the dog had done the thing where seen something on the leash, pulled her arm, and and so that's the area that I randomly decided to work on. And she said, and then explained it was kind of feeling better, etc., and similar things kind of going on with Parv. So that's kind of what you can expect from the Huna energy, whether you're there in person at the photo reading workshop or whether you're watching it on one of the video webinars. This was from Kate, who came to one of my workshops, and she was there with her husband. And again, it wasn't a Huna workshop. I just did a little bit of Huna while I was wandering around before break. And she had had a frozen shoulder for the past 18 months and hadn't been able to move her arm. And her husband says, go on, tell Marilyn what's just happened. So I was like, what happened? He said, after you did the Huna on Kate's shoulder, and then Kate just went and put her arm straight up in the air, which was just fantastic. So, have things like that happening as well. So that's both in person and on the recordings. And again, because we're talking about this in the context of work in terms of the packages that are available this time, some of you might know the lovely author Lac Loy, and he was recommended, actually, David, who I spoke about earlier with the 300% increase. Lac was on one of his trainings, and David had said, well, you got this issue. He'd been out of contract for 9 months. And David said, well, actually call Marilyn, maybe do some of the Huna stuff that she did with me, because it was amazing. It unblocked everything. And so we did some Huna over the phone. Just so happens I was at the Yes group that week. Lac was there, so did a couple of minutes in the room. And then I get the call that I always get from my clients. I hear the phrases I hear most are, wow, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. So Lac then says, you're not going to believe this, because what had happened is, as soon as we'd done the Huna a couple of days later, contract that was dead in the water, doing nothing, suddenly out of the blue they called him and said, can you start tomorrow? And so he says, you're not going to believe this, you have an amazing ability and it's having miraculous effects. And this is the one where I was checking when I was putting testimonials together, and I said to Lac, was it 9 months? And he says, yeah, that's right, I was out of contract for 9 months. And I was asking, am I okay to share your testimonial? And he says, yes, of course, Marilyn, anything to spread awareness of this amazing spiritual technology. So, and I've had that happen several times for clients. And 9, I don't know what it is about the 300% increase and the 9 months, but I had another client in my membership group who was also out of contract for 9 months. And she had exactly the same thing happen. Well, actually slightly different. She messages me and says, I've got a problem. This is after we did the Huna. We did a Skype session. I says, what's happened? She says, I've been offered 2 jobs. I don't know which one to choose. So she's been out of contract for 9 months, and then suddenly 2 coming at work. And that's also happened for someone else in the membership room. She talked about that at the Mind, Body, Spirit Energy Fest. So you guys will know who that is. So yeah. And so, with regards to this one, I have found that once people go, right, I'm on and I'm signing up. We had someone else who signed up, and she also emailed me and says, did you Huna the program before we started? Because she said that night she'd thought about signing up. She signed up that morning, that day offered a job with more money. So, just really cool things happening. This was someone else who says, your money program is working already, by the way. It's just that the money is coming from a channel I want to replace, because she had a channel that was doing nothing. She signed up for this was the 10-part Raising Your Money Vibration series, and then pretty much straight away money started coming into that from that channel that was doing nothing, which is why she was thinking of replacing it. So we have some really, really cool stuff. So if you've missed the offer, which is the 19-year anniversary offer, go to www.moneyvibration.eventbrite.com. Brilliant. Thank you for your question. I will get back to that one. Cool. www.moneyvibration.eventbrite.com, and that's where you'll find whatever the full current price is. So that's that. And we've used it in really, really interesting ways. And this is from someone who's a lawyer and who really does not give testimonials willy-nilly. And so he was just kind of talking about the combination of these things and how, the Huna and the access had really kind of opened things up for him as well in the context of his life and his business. So cool stuff. Yeah, and as I said, I could be here all day with just the stories of the Huna and the breakthroughs. And this is Keith, who did my very first Mind, Body, Spirit Energy Fest workshop, which runs the first weekend of December. So this year is going to be year number 9. Keith was there year number 1. And one of the things that had happened, he wanted to raise some money, wanted a lump sum, and decided £10,000 would be a good idea. And he had a dinner coming up. So we put a goal in his future timeline about winning the £10,000 check. He won a smaller check first and was like, that's great, wonderful. And Marilyn and I talked about more zeros than this. And then at the end of the night, no prizes for guessing who won the £10,000. You can see him there with the check. And he also, when he came to the MBS workshop, wanted to have that experience of deep love. And the second year, he came back as my guest to talk about the whole money thing and the sorting out the finances and all that, and also about the relationship. So him and his girlfriend came as my guest that second year. So actually, that's not really in this presentation, but the next tier early booking price for that one is also finishing tomorrow, the end of this month, if you're watching that in real time. So that's that. And that said, with the incredible, amazing, fantastic client testimonials, I have to also put in a disclaimer that the programs that I'm talking about in no way offer financial advice. They are for entertainment purposes only, and you, the participant, are responsible for any actions and any decisions taken. This is really about shifting the energy, helping you to shift your mindset, and you're responsible for everything else that happens thereafter. So let's just get that clear as well. And I can't guarantee that you're going to make 100K in a month, which one of my clients did. Well, several of my clients have actually. I can't guarantee that you're going to be mortgage free, which several of my clients now are. So the stories have been amazing and fantastic and incredible, and I can't guarantee what's going to happen for every single person that takes it. And of course, it also depends on the infrastructure you have in place, the actions that you take, and the work, the depth of the work that you do. So, you know, just keep that one in mind. Now, in terms of the question, do the HUNA and energy clearings travel if you're doing it via a recording? The answer is yes. This is one from the lovely Pippa again, and her website is www.pippaneve, N-E-V-E, www.pippaneve.com. So check her out. And this is one from a few years ago. You guys who are on my e-newsletter list will know that when I'm coming up with new ideas and test, I used to call it guinea pigs. I don't anymore. I now just say test subjects because guinea pig sounds a bit scary. But whenever I'm trying out something new, I will normally go to my e-newsletter list and I'll ask for volunteers. And so Pippa volunteered to listen to one of the recordings and give me some feedback. She wasn't able to do it live, and so she listened to the MP3. It was a telephone session that I did back then. What you can see on the screen is her feedback, and she's talking about, you know, how she felt the energy, what happened during the first round, the second round, the third round. And what was really profound, I didn't realize until earlier this year when I used this slide in the Raising Your Money vibration to answer the question about, you know, what if you can't make it live? What if you're listening to the recording? And as I was reading through this, where she's saying things like initially my third eye, my throat and my heart center and my shoulder plexus all felt compressed, I realized that's the point all those years ago, that over the phone there's a symbol that the literal translation is thunder comes down and strikes the earth and makes the ground shake. I'd use that to open up the session, and if people are sensitive to energy, they sometimes feel that one as a pushback, like so I was like, oh my God. And then she said, after the first round of HUNA, I sensed the image of a triangle of fire. What she wouldn't have known at that point is one of the symbols that I used after you kind of break it down. I'd use the fire symbol to metaphorically start burning away, you know, the thoughts, belief, the ideas, the energy that is no longer required. And it's a red triangle. And then the more I kept reading, like she says, slowly I began to feel lighter. My heart center opened up more than previously, and I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. And the symbol that I'd flashed onto the screen earlier actually was that symbol with the light that kind of shines from within. So as I read it, I was like, oh my God, she's describing exactly the order and sequence of what I did with the HUNA, but all the participants would have heard is and even if you know HUNA, you've got no idea what that symbol is. So in answer to the question, does the energy travel? Yes, it does. So that's that. In terms of the question about, well, online versus in person and and one of the reasons I really love online, number one, the people who always say to me, oh my God, I wish you live closer, would love to do your workshops. Now you can. And also for those who like, oh my God, I really want to do that, I can't make the date. Now you can, because it's there, it's on demand. And there are also people who kind of go, oh, I like being in person. What's it going to be like online? Not really sure. So this is from someone who took part in the Raising Your Money vibration, lovely lady called Winifred. And Winifred makes the most incredible vibrational bath salts and shower salts. They are beyond. A bit like the way I put the HUNA energy into the recording, she puts her energy into those vibrational salts. So do check them out. Winifred Carnero is her name. So what she said, because the question is, would you recommend this video webinar series to others? So Winifred has said, absolutely yes. This has been one of the first webinar series that I've attended virtually for all but the first session due to time conflicts. Usually I prefer classroom in person, But this has really exceeded my expectations, and I have no hesitation in recommending this program. And if you can attend virtually live online, it is very powerful, and there is the bonus of the recordings if you cannot. So that's an idea of what to expect. And people always, when I very first ran the Practitioner Insider Secrets workshop as the very first video webinar training, because I'd run it the year before as an in-person, I then ran it as a video webinar, and I had some of the same people who did the in-person come to the video webinar, and they all said, oh my God, I thought I'd miss being in the room, but this has been so fun. It's been amazing, because there's a really lovely energy and dynamic. And a friend of mine, Tracy Lawrenson, sent me a message a week or so ago saying, Marilyn, I think you need to stop saying webinar workshops. You're giving people the wrong idea, because she said, I've done some of your online stuff and it's energetic and it's dynamic. She said it's more like blended learning, because it just goes beyond your regular webinar. And I know that to be true. When I first took a chance a year ago today now, pretty much last October, and I ran the full 3-day photo reading video webinar online in this platform. I was like, that's a long time. It's 21 hours, and we did about 22, 23 hours. And at the end of it, people were like, oh my God, I'm so motivated, I'm so energized. And I'm like, they've spent 21 hours, because they did it live. Somebody was so keen to be in the room. She left the UK, she flew out to America and was in her hotel room catching the next segment. And so I'm like, that's a long time to be on screen, and photo reading is intense. And people are like, oh my God, they're energized, they're motivated at the end of like 21, 22 hours. So it's a different kind of experience. If you're used to just passively sitting in front of a screen, it's totally not that. So that's that. And in terms of working with groups, oh man, it's just incredible. And this is one I'm the host and the MC. Well, I have been for the past 3 years for an event called the TCCHE, the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution. So the picture you can see on screen, that's Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton. There's about 500 people in that audience. And on the last, well, all 3 years actually, the first one was very impromptu. Something had happened with Grenfell Towers, and they were in the building downstairs, some of the survivors. And so I was asked if I could just do like a meditation or some sort of energy clearing for them. So I decided to do Huna, and probably just did 2 or 3 minutes. People coming up at the end of that, a bit like Pippa had said, they had no idea who I was, no idea what I was doing. All they knew is this woman on stage waving her hands about and going, that's all they knew. And people were describing what they felt. They said, oh, when you started, and one woman said, oh, I felt this thing spinning around me, and I'd done a symbol that you ask the energy to spin around people. Somebody else did the waterfall thing. She said, oh, a minute or so in, I felt like I was in this waterfall. That's when I did the water symbol. Again, they would have had no idea. And so, people were coming up for the next 4 days to describe their experiences. And oh my God, had a migraine, it's gone. Back pain, it's gone. Put my shoulder out, it's gone. Was so tired and confused, I didn't think I'd be able to come back tomorrow. Suddenly I'm sitting up bright as a button, my head is clear, I'm totally on it. Really incredible thing. So if you're on a small device, you might not be able to read this. So one of them says, thank you so much for everything, and the Huna, and how beautifully you held the energy of the room and managed everything. Someone else says, I attended the 4-day TCCHE event a couple of weeks ago, because people were emailing me several weeks after the event as well, because they didn't get a chance to speak to me at the time, but wanted to tell me what's happened. So they said, I attended the 4-day TCCHE event a couple of weeks ago, and although I found the speakers fascinating, your Huna work had the most profound effect on me. Somebody else said, I did speak to you at the event, brackets in the ladies, because people were stopping me everywhere, and explained how I felt and the energy around me and a sense of calm. But since that time, I am quite amazed at what has happened, because a bit like the ripple effect that is the logo and has been for me for the past 18 years, people found that not only did they have profound things immediately happen right there in the room, the energy carried several weeks into the event. And I know that the ripple effect of, let's say, a one-day breakthrough session will carry for a good 10 years, because I've had somebody email me 10 years after we did a one-day breakthrough session, and he messaged me. One of his colleagues was looking for an executive coach, so he emailed me to introduce us and suggest that she book me. And he said, I've been meaning to tell you that the effects of the one-day breakthrough session that we did are still rippling throughout my entire life. And when I checked the database, I'd not worked with that man for 10 years since I'd done anything with him. So it's pretty incredible. It really, really is. I'll talk to you about some of the synchronicities that happened with the mermaid and the seeing the Almakua, the higher self, in response to my question to the universe, shall I teach this? So that was fascinating. We talk about that on the one-day workshop. We've also got 20% off, if you're watching this in real time, the 3-day photo reading in-person training. So for information about that, go to secretofphotoreading.eventbrite.com. That's where you'll find any early booking offers, and they're on a sliding scale. So the closer to the event you book, I mean, normally that if you're very close, if you're within I think it's 5 to 6 weeks before the event, there's no early booking price. But if you're booking before that, it's 20% at the moment. It'll go down to 10%. But check that page out. If you're in the position where you've got tons to read, you're feeling overwhelmed, you've got data and information coming at you from all directions, you've got no idea how to keep on top of all of that, and you want to get more hours out of your day and do it with a lot less stress, and learn how to photo read at 25,000 words a minute and photo read a whole book in 5 minutes, then check that page out. And the way that it's working when I do the early booking, what you might call pre-launch for the next workshop, what I then do is the people who have booked, you will choose the date so that everybody who's booked early can attend. There's no point doing early booking and going, oh, sorry, you can't make it. That'll be ridiculous. So you guys choose the date, and then those are the dates that get released out into the public. That's how that one works. In terms of what's included in the photo reading workshop, it's the live 3-day workshop. Tend to run it at the Jury's Inn Hotel, Clarendon Road, which is about 5 minutes walk from the station. And it's, if you're traveling in from London, it's about 15-20 minutes from London Euston, depending on what train you're getting. As I said, dates are agreed with those who take up the early booking offer. And in terms of the course materials, you've got the 150-page photo reading book. It's on the shelf there behind me, the one with the blue and orange spine. You've got the full color photo reading playbook. You've got the Paraliminal MP3, you've got the Tips and Insights CD/MP3, and you've got the Lifetime Certificate. And what's really exciting about the Lifetime Certificate, it means that once you've completed the certification class, you can retake the class whenever you like, as many times as you like, anywhere in the world, because there are photo reading instructors all over the world. And you never have to pay for the full workshop again. You just cover the cost of being in the room. So if somebody's running it from their living room, they might charge you 50 quid. If you're having to hire a venue like I am, then it's a bit more than that. But you never have to pay the full price of the workshop. You just cover the cost. And that's going to vary from instructor to instructor and from country to country. But because what they recognize with this one is your learning often comes in layers. And I do sometimes have people coming back to refresh. They might be changing jobs. They might be taking up postgraduate study. They might just want a refresher. And so they come back for various reasons. One of the things I always say is, actually, the photo reading has impacted my life more than I thought. I just hadn't noticed, because it goes way beyond reading in terms of people's creativity, their decision-making skills, their critical thinking skills, opening up their intuition, improving their public speaking skills, you name it. There's a knock-on effect in all of those that people often don't notice, because it just quietly ripples out into their life. But a really nice thing, you can come back and continue to refresh the skills. If you wanted to do a photo reading class every weekend for the next 30 years, free of charge, you could totally do that. I don't think you'd have the time, but you could if you wanted to. So hold on, let me, actually, do you know what? I'm not even, oh yes, I can do Messenger from here, but I'll, maybe check that as well. I'll have a look at those questions. I will come back to you in a second with regards to answers to that. And so what you can see on screen is the photo reading course materials. Alrighty. I'm just going to pick one piece of feedback from this one, because I could be going on for days. I've been running photo reading workshops. I became a photo reading instructor in March 2002. That's a long time. And this was somebody, he worked in software and IT, was a developer, thought he was just coming to learn to read faster. And he just kind of said, look, this is the best personal development course I have ever attended. hands down, then just walked off, because people don't expect it to be a personal development course. So it does way more than it says on the tin, and it always blows people's minds. And often on the Friday, they're like, my God, if you told me it was going to be this, I would have come years ago. And that's one of the things I hear most often. Oh my God, I wish I'd come when you first told me about it. Or why didn't you tell me it was this? And I'm like, let's not even get into that. You know when the dates are. I put the dates out. I put them in the newsletter, and you have just chosen not to come for the last X number of years. So, but you know that people are always pleasantly surprised by, you know, how deep it is and what it covers. So that is that. Now, for those of you who have never met me before and like, who the heck is this woman? What does she do? One of the reasons I do what I do is because everything that I now teach had a profound impact on my life. Before I got into personal development, as I already said, I was studying to be a chartered accountant. I was very, very shy, lacking in confidence, very low self-esteem, could barely speak to my own family, much less standing up in front of an audience or being on camera and speaking. And everything changed as a result of that. So I started off with the NLP, hypnosis and timeline therapy. So I did the master practitioner in October 2000, stroke November, December 2000. I did my trainer's training in NLP and timeline therapy in May 2001, the hypnotherapy trainer's training the year after that. And over the last, what will be 19 years at this point, so gosh, coming up to 20 next year, 2020 will be 20 years, you know, added a lot of different modalities as well, because I recognized one size didn't fit. Also things like EFT, DNA theta healing, of course, the HUNA, future life progression, soul plan reading, archetypal profiling, energetic NLP, past life regression, you name it's probably in there somewhere. And of course, the photo reading. And I have also been working as a corporate trainer and management consultant and Prince 2 project manager since 2003. Working mainly in central and local government, change management, leadership development, training, project management. So very different to this, but fun nonetheless. And also public speaking, leading seminars, workshops, etc. And the thing that I think really pushed me and propelled me into, I would say, being emotionally ready, even though that's not how I felt. I just felt broken. When I found out my partner had an affair in September 2000, I contemplated suicide. And so when I walked into that training in October 2000, I was still thinking about that and mulling over all of the ways I might be able to do it. So to have that dramatic turnaround, got goosebumps, to have that dramatic turnaround in the space of just a week was just mind-blowing to me. And that's one of the reasons I'm like, you know what, I'm giving up the accountancy and I'm going to be a coach and hypnotherapist instead. Because if it can work for me, Miss Skeptical, imagine working with people who actually want to change. That was really what I thought. I'm like, let's do this thing. So that's really how I came to be doing what I'm doing. I also write for newspapers and magazines, have been doing that since, 2002 now. For many years, I was a media expert for Psychology's magazine. I had a monthly column and problem page for Spirit and Destiny for about 7 years. And you know, I started off writing about emotional health and well-being. Now the topics are much more diverse. Also write for business publications. I've just had one come out on diversity in the media. Got another one coming out on smart working, flexible working, and how to manage a team remotely. Another piece coming out on taking up ballet for the first time at age 47 and a half. Another piece coming out about how energetic forces and our loved ones speak to us from the other side. So it's still a very eclectic mix, but that's one of the things that I do. I love writing and you know, imparting ideas. And the first book that I co-authored, which it's here actually, it is a real book rather than an ebook, so that's it there. And it's kind of stories of transformation. So co-author with people like Tony Robbins, Dr. Paul Shealy, who's the creator of photo reading, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, Chun-Yi Lin, Brian Tracy. And that's all about, you know, we were all asked to write a story about how we changed and transformed our lives and share tips with the readers. So that's a little bit about me. So questions. Have you got any questions, any queries about anything we've covered on this live stream? If you're not watching it live and you've taken the whistle stop tour as a replay, feel free to put your questions into the comments. I'll cycle back round and answer those. Let me just now go back to Messenger and just read these that I've had. 1 second. So question number one. Well, they said, what date are these workshops? And then in the next one, oops, sorry, it's online, isn't it? But yeah, I'll just answer that in case anybody wasn't clear. The photo reading workshop is an in-person workshop, although there is the 3-day video webinar version of it as well if you live abroad and you can't make it to the UK, or you want to take the photo reading training from the comfort of your own office or the comfort of your own home. But with the 1-day video webinar money breakthrough workshop, with the 1-day Huna workshop, with the 10-part Raising Your Money Vibration series, all of those are now on-demand video webinars. So they start as soon as you do. Once you've paid and you're into the platform, you just press play and it's all there for you. And of course, if you want to break, because previously what I've done is I've done the 1-day workshops as 2 half-day workshops. With the 1-day money breakthrough, we did a straight 8-hour run through. So there's a break at lunchtime, where it says intermission. So when you get to that point, if you don't need a break and you don't need lunch at that point, you just fast forward. But you can take it then at your own pace and your own speed. So you're correct, there aren't any dates as such. And with the dates for the photo reading workshop, that will be agreed with the people who have taken up the early booking price. So people who have booked either on this tier for the 20% or by the time we hit the 10%, those people will decide on the date. So that is that one. 1 second. So let me do that. Right. Well, they said, how long is the training? Then the next measure, you've answered that too. So yeah, anything from 8 hours, 8.5 hours for the 1-day training, about 22 hours for the Raising Your Money Vibration, and the same for the photo reading. And let me just do this as well, just to check that one and just see if there's anything there that I need to see before we carry on. No, I think we're good on that. Right. So. Coming attractions, what we have coming up. We've got the 1-day live interactive blended learning fearless public speaking video webinar workshop, and that's a 1-day workshop where I share with you the things that I did to turn that around, so that I went from terrified of public speaking to absolutely loving it and always having way more to say than the time allows. And so that one, it's the 1-day video webinar using the same platform that you're watching me in now, and I'll be kind of sharing how I do that and the emceeing and all the rest of it. And I really, one of my favorite pictures of myself speaking is that one in the middle with me on the pink dot on the stage. The pink is the color of the psychology. I was wearing the Psychologies magazine sweatshirt because I was speaking on behalf of Psychologies magazine, and there's several thousand people in the audience. And now when I look at that one and I think, man, I used to be terrified of public speaking. I could barely speak to my own family. It just blows my mind, really. So it's a 1-day video webinar workshop. I've had some fantastic case studies over the years. So not everybody wants to talk about it. And when I'm in the corporate context, people want to quietly go back to the office and they don't want people to know that they were terrified of even speaking up in meetings, etc. But who you can see on the screen here is a wonderful Erica Brodnock, who started an organization when we first met called Charisma Kids, and recognized that she needed to be not just the face of the brand, but the voice of the brand as well, because it was her inception and her creation and her incredible idea. And she also wanted to pitch for investment, didn't like public speaking at all. She had been invited to do a TED talk, was petrified. And so came to the photo reading workshop to do some of the, kind of mind stuff. And we also did some one-to-one work around the public speaking. What you can see on the screen there is Erica with one of her many awards for her public speaking, because whenever that woman gets on stage, she just closes the show down. It's like, everybody take a back seat. Erica's here. So she's won awards all over the world. And what you can see on the other side is she also then became a regular on Sky News. That was going out live. So to go from, oh my God, I've been invited to do a TED talk, to that, amazing. So we're going to talk about kind of what we did there. In terms of roughly what we're covering, we're going to go to how We're going to look at how to go from terrified to loving public speaking, or at least enjoying it and not dreading it. The 5-step process to help you structure any talk or presentation. We're going to talk about how to calm your nerves and anxiety, because that's a really big part of it. We're also going to talk about some of the unconscious blocks and things that people do to sabotage themselves and what you can do to resolve those. Well, first of all, what you can do to uncover them, and then once you know what they are, what you can do to resolve them. We're also going to have you kind of have your energy work, what I call for you and with you rather than against you. So if you want some further information about that, it's www.bit.ly/fearless public speaking. So if you go to that page at the moment, same with the other deals that I'm talking about, there's a price that will expire tomorrow night. I've set that one to go just before midnight in UK time. And then, but if you go to that page, whenever you're looking at this, if the offers are over, you'll just pay the full current price, but that will be the link that you can use regardless of when you're watching. So you could be watching this in a year's time, 5 years time, 10 years time, you can still use that link. So www.bit.ly/fearless public speaking. So that's that one. What we're also going to be doing on that one is looking at easy ways that you can deal with open forums and live audience questions, because I know that's one thing that sometimes terrifies people. They might go, right, okay, I'm going to put the presentation together and they're not going to deviate from the words that they have robotically put down, but they don't want any questions, because that's wild card territory. You don't know what people are going to say. So we'll talk about easy ways to deal with that. Hang on, here we go.
That was easy.
We'll do that. I'm going to introduce you to a system also that's going to help you to focus more easily and remember what you want to say, because a rabbit in a headlight syndrome is real. We're also going to look, if it depends on the audience, but we can also look at some of those entrepreneur and angel investment tips, because one of the things that I've done is coaching entrepreneurs and startup organizations and getting them ready to be pitching and presenting. And I kind of did some work with an organization called Wayra, and I was preparing them to pitch in front of Prince Andrew and will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. So often there's kind of high level stuff, a lot of stuff at stake, so we can share some of those tips as well. Also, we're going to do audience Q&A for those of you who are actually there live, and if you're booking it now in order to get the early booking price, and you can either pay in full for this one, or it will take you to the Thrive Cart page and you can do 2 split payments. So depending on how you want to do that, but even if you can't make the date, because this one is running on the 16th of next month as a live event, what you can do is send your questions in and I will answer those. I won't say they're from you, but I'll answer those questions on the webinar, so you still get your questions answered. And we also have a surprise bonus session coming up. We'll say more about that on the actual workshop. So that is that. Some of you might have also seen, if you know Natasha Waldron, she's given me permission to share this one. But what's really fantastic, worked with Natasha a few months ago. And again, a bit like Erica, knowing that she's created something incredible, she also recognizes that it will help her to be the face of the business and the face and the voice of the brand, and be talking to the press and the media, etc., about what she's been doing, and did not enjoy public speaking at all. Did it, but didn't enjoy it. And she was out in Singapore at the weekend speaking at the Rich Women Success Conference, part of the Global Women and in association with Success Resources. And she's put on her Facebook thread, Marilyn Devonish, thank you so much. I have no idea what you did to me, ... but thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that's from Natasha Waldron, UKG Lifestyle. She's created an incredible business, a really fantastic ethos, and doing some fantastic things with her staff. And she's third left on the stage wearing the white top. So that was wonderful. We did some breakthrough coaching Skype sessions around the public speaking. So I'll be sharing with you some of the processes that we covered there as well. So if you would like to book that one, that's what the page will look like when you get there. There's a countdown timer. This is out of date because I did this screenshot before this presentation. So we're now, we've got probably, a day less. It depends when you're watching. If you're watching this tonight, we've got about 24 hours to go for this one. But that's the page, and you can choose your pricing option. You can do a one-time payment, or you can do split payments. So you decide that where that red arrow is, that's the bit that you will do. But go to bit.ly/fearless public speaking to book that one. Cool. So before we close, Couple of tips for fearless public speaking, and also going to share with you a couple of the money breakthrough exercises as well. So first one, get a grip on your mind. Oftentimes when it comes to public speaking, as soon as people have been invited or requested, or they know the meeting is coming up, whatever it is you have to do, people then start talking themselves into doom and gloom. So one of the things I'd always say to people is get a grip on your mindset, because oftentimes people are making the issue and the problem worse. I've had clients before they did the breakthrough session, they'd be up, sleepless nights from the moment they know they have to speak. I had one guy who worked for a big retailing organization, which had outlets across the UK and Europe. He had to go and speak at the stock exchange and present the annual figures and do the quarterly forecasting. Hated it. And he'd had an experience actually in the office where they were doing smaller briefing to the staff, where finally the rabbit of the headlight syndrome just took hold, and he was on stage in front of the company, like, couldn't speak. One of his colleagues came up on stage and kind of bumped him off and rescued him. And that's when he thought, I need help with this. So he booked a breakthrough session with me. And as he's walking out the door, he said, all I need now is a good opportunity to practice what we've done. I was like, and I smiled. I remember distinctly, and this was probably back in 2005. And I smiled and I says, be careful what you wish for. He gets back to the office, and they have said, what we want to do is, before we go to the stock exchange, we want to release the interim figures and the forecast to the staff. So we've scheduled something in the canteen for this week. Okay. So he's like, this is my chance to practice. And, talking about the financials and for people who, a lot of the staff, they work in retail, they're customer facing, they're not that interested in the figures. They just want to know, am I getting paid this month? So, he goes into the canteen, he's expecting like, I don't know, a dozen or so people. He says, Marilyn, there's several hundred people there. He's like, okay, it's on. His colleague who had to rescue him last time was standing stage left, waiting to come up and bump him off again. Not bump him off, you know what I mean? Move him to one side so he could take over. So my client now gets on stage, starts speaking, realizes he feels totally calm and relaxed. He's in flow. At the end of it, the guy who's waiting to rescue him says, what happened to you? And he just smiled, because often people don't say that they've had help. They're just like, yeah, I just woke up like this, which is really nice. But it's not actually, while we're on that subject, it's not great for word of mouth. So you don't have to tell people your deepest, staff secrets, but it's really good when you just say, actually, do you know what, if you're looking for a coach or you're looking for a trainer, I recommend Marilyn Devonish. The website is transformationstm.com. That always helps. So he then has staff coming up to him saying, oh my God, that was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much for that presentation. Oh my God, that's so much more interesting than I thought I would be. Could we make this a regular thing? So people are actually asking now. It was so good that they wanted it to be a regular thing that they did. And, it was packed to the rafters and everybody enjoyed it. So that's the thing in terms of when you get control of your mind, it makes a massive difference. I also say to my clients, watch for sweeping blanket statements. For example, people say, I hate public speaking or I hate presenting. That's not strictly true. There are aspects of it that they hate, but now they make the problem again bigger than it is because we haven't segmented it down. So that's another thing that we're going to be talking about. What I'd also say is you want to design a solid preparation strategy. So less worrying, more strategizing, because most people spend all of their time worrying, and actually the worry can even take over the preparation time, that the people can't even think straight enough to get themselves prepared. Now they're just on I can hear Bon Jovi halfway there, they're on a wing and a prayer sort of thing and hoping it will be all right. And also I say to people, take the focus beyond yourself. We're going to talk about how you do that as well, because once you are able to do that, you're no longer in your own little mind going, oh my God, what if I leave my place? What if I do this? It's a whole different ball game. So we're going to talk about how to do all of those things, but they are really good starting points if you have a talk or a presentation coming up and you're not totally comfortable being in front of an audience or being on camera. Now, the hot off the press thing before we close off with the money breakthrough exercises, I had an idea 2 days ago. It was about 5:24 p.m. UK time. I emailed Anjesh, the creator of Future Life Progression. I says, Anne, just had an idea, and then I reel off this idea, and I put a transcript of that on my Facebook page if you want to go and read what I said. And my crazy idea was, because I'm really loving the online space, the webinars are great, and when we're doing the questions, the live, the interactive is fantastic. The concept now is moving in a different direction. You're going deeper with the online experience. And so my suggestion was, let's do a future life progression expo. It's online. Now we have the main stage. In the expo stage, we have the smaller breakout rooms. We've got round table discussion rooms. We've got a speed networking room where you're in a networking room for a set amount of time. I've set the time for 10 minutes, but you can terminate the conversation before then if you want. And a bit like speed dating, if you like the person, when I say like, I mean you're interested in their work and what they're doing. Still not a dating. But if you're interested in what the person is saying, you both want to keep in touch in your respective room. So you'll be at home or wherever you are on your camera, they'll be at home on their camera. If you want to exchange details, both of you have to click the green button. And if you do that, it sends the other person your virtual business card and vice versa. So in the same way, you might be at an expo walking around Olympia, Earl's Court, the NEC, some convention center, and you meet someone, oh yeah, let's exchange details. You can do exactly the same there in a private space. So we've got that going on as well. We also potentially have exhibitors booths. So if there are people with products and services that are in alignment with this, you can talk to the vendors, you can find out more. So it's a whole different ballgame, using a completely different platform to the one I'm on now. So I explained all of this to Anne, and she was like, sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. And so she agreed to speak. So she is going to be speaking. And what you can do at the moment is you can fill out the expression of interest form. Number one, love to hear your ideas. In terms of future life progression, what would you most like to take away from the expo in terms of what do you want to know? What do you want to learn? What do you want to experience? What do you want to find out more about? So those are questions that are in the expression of interest form. And you can also use the same form if you would like to apply to speak. Actually, let me give you an idea. Quite long links, but let me just pull up. Let me just pull up the link. If you guys want to go in and fill out the questionnaire, that would really be helpful. So what we got. So here we go. Oh, it's long. www.app, dot, as in full stop, involve.me/transformations, and that's TRANSFORMATIONSTM. So app.involve.me/transformations/FLP-expo-EOI. And I'll put that link under the video description if this is on YouTube or this is on Facebook. But that's the form that you fill in if you would like to say kind of what you'd like to see covered, or if you'd like to apply to speak at the expo. And then the page is also now open if you want to actually go and have a look at the expo page itself. That's what you can see on screen. And what we're going to be kind of doing is just kind of taking you through a virtual tour of the whole thing. So Anne Jersh, the creator of Future Life Progression, has already agreed to speak. Wendy Fry, author, speaker, and ghostwriter, is also speaking. Virginia Rounds Griffith has also applied to speak, and she's a past, present, and future life coach and trainer. And I know several other people have sent their applications in. So I'm going to be, once my house sitter is coming to get themselves acquainted very soon. And once I've got all that sorted out, I'm throwing a suitcase together, and I'm going to be teaching out at a retreat in Spain, the Cambio Retreats event with Kathy Hector. So once I get back from teaching, I'm going to be out there for a week. What I'll do is I'll go through the rest of the applications, and we'll start putting the program together. So that is really hot off the press, because, you know, that was just 2 days ago that I first had the idea. I've now built the system that is going to host it, etc. Design the questionnaire, the online form, etc. So we're cooking with gas, as we say. So that's that one. Right. I'll see if there are any final questions, and then we will look at the money breakthrough exercises, and then we're out of here. So they've said, sounds good, laugh out loud. What if I want to do everything? That can be arranged. I have got a combo price for the money breakthrough, so you don't have to choose. You might go, oh, the 28-day e-coaching program sounds good. Oh, but the 1-day breakthrough workshop sounds good. Oh, and the 10-part raising your money vibration sounds good. So what I've done, there are savings on those individually. And if you wanted to do all of those plus the Skype coaching, there I bundled them again, and there's an even better price on that. But if you genuinely wanted to do all of those and the Huna workshop and the photo reading, just drop me an email. It's Marilyn, Marilyn at transformationsdm.com. Drop me an email. I'm sure we can sort something out. Right, so with the kind of raising your money vibration and the 1-day money breakthrough workshop and the 28-day workshop, e-coaching workshop program, it's all about changing the relationship with money. It's all about looking at the dynamics, and it's all about then creating the experience that Dave had, where it's like, wow, everything is completely different. Everything has changed. One of my favorite exercises is the money relationship. When people do that one, it blows their minds. When I first put it out into the 28-day e-coaching program, I had people going, really, Marilyn? Really? Then they did the exercise. They're like, oh my God, that was so real. Oh my, and that's what Amana was alluding to when she said about the relationship with money and mirroring the relationships in your life. She also had that experience. It was just mind blowing. So, we're going to, we kind of go deep into that one. A couple of exercises to get the ball rolling. This is where you kind of start off with your money review. And this is one of the exercises that we were doing it. And Dave is in his own little world, in parallel universe. And like everybody else is like, oh my God, it's overwhelming, it's difficult, it's challenging, there's never enough, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, it comes in one end, goes out the other, all that sort of stuff. And Dave's like, yeah, it's all good. So this is one of those exercises. So question number one, how do you feel about money? Number two, just to kind of get that more tangible, because we want to kind of have a strategy around this, get more specific. So you then kind of go, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're rating that, where 1 equals terrible, 10 equals great. And again, Dave's numbers were completely different from everyone else's on Saturday. And then you're going to choose 3 words that describe your current, so right now, in this moment, never mind future and all the rest of it, right now in this moment, how do you feel about it? The reason we do that is we're benchmarking. So as we go through the workshop, or as you go through the 28-day program, or as you go through the Raising Your Money vibration, you have a much better idea, and you have what we call your contrast frame. Because I often have my clients where they'll use a particular notebook for their coaching, etc. They'll find that notebook a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years later. They'll read it and go, I can't even believe I said that. I can't believe I wrote that, because the change is so dramatic. So it's a really good idea to start with writing those things down. Next, what we want to kind of look at is the money beliefs. So a couple of questions here, again, to get the ball rolling. And if you're watching this as a video replay, of course, press pause and stop and do the exercises as we would do when we're on the workshop. We don't press pause. We actually stop, and we stop and write and do the exercises on the webinar, so that in terms of timing, just follow along like you're with us in the room. But in this instance, question number 1 is, what do you believe about money? And write down the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Don't try and censor it, just get it all out. And this is where Dave was saying, I can't think of anything bad to say about money, whereas other people are like, then what you're going to do with this one is you're going to create 2 separate columns. If you had a sheet of A4, this is actually, this is one I created earlier for the workshop that I was running on Saturday. What I said to the group is, fold your sheet, and then you've automatically got a line down the middle, and then you're going to then take some of the things you've written, and you're going to have a positive column, a negative column. So you're going to do some sifting and sorting of what you've written, and then with the words that have the most power, the words that are more frequent, the energy, the ethos, the idea that is most prevalent in terms of your money beliefs, what you want to do is you want to reshape those top 3 words into belief sentences, because that's going to give you an idea and an indication of what do you believe. So, for example, people might talk about struggle, hardship, difficulty, not enough, da 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 da. Then they look at like, well, I say that a lot, and then that would shape the current money belief. Like, I don't know, the thing that, money is hard and difficult to come by, for example. And that's where you are right now. Of course, as we go through the program, we're working on that, we're clearing that, we're changing that. But this is just to give you a starting point. Another one you might want to look at is the money genealogy. So you have just a few little starter pieces. Where did you pick up your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas about money? What are your family and relatives like with money? And do you know anything about your ancestors? Do you know anything about your genealogical line? And also noticing any patterns, because oftentimes people like the robbing Peter to pay Paul and the money doesn't grow on trees. When we did the Raising Your Money vibration program, those were some of the statements that were coming through, and people going, it's not even, I just, my parents used to say that, or you know, my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my sister, my grand, blah, blah. So it wasn't even their beliefs. They just kind of inherit them by osmosis. So we just want to explore all of that as well, to start unpicking and unraveling things that you may have internalized and made your own for no reason. So that's another interesting one to do. And then once you've done the clearing work, depending on which of the programs you're choosing, I then say, you know, notice the ripple effect and the changes as you go through. So the way I would say that, if I'm in a coaching session, this is kind of one of the cards from my, it's up there, my coaching cards deck. One of the things I've been saying to my coaching clients since the year 2000 is notice what you notice. And this simple phrase heightens your awareness of what's going on around you. And in terms of positive change and transformation, you then start noticing the positive ripple effect. You start noticing where things are shifting. You start noticing where things are changing. You know, start noticing where previously you would have had XYZ reaction, or like Dave having the experience of watching everyone else in the room typing their beliefs, or me kind of sharing what people have written and him going, no, you know, you then kind of go, wow. But the more you kind of put your focus and your attention on that, the more you create momentum. So that's definitely one thing that I would say you want to start doing as well. So just want to say thank you for watching the replay. Really appreciate it. If you know someone who could benefit from one of these programs, or all of these programs, or some of these programs, please feel free to share the links or share this video with them. Very, very much appreciated. And even if you don't, you know, clicking like is always fantastic. That'll be amazing. So thank you for your time, your energy, your attention, and also thank you to everyone over the last 19 years that I've been doing the coaching and the therapy and running trainings. Thank you to everyone who has walked through those doors. Thank you to everyone who has booked a coaching session. Thank you to everyone who has recommended me and talked about the results that you've got, because in the world we live in now, with so much hype and so much fake news, it's really difficult for people to discern, you know, what works, what doesn't, what's real and what's not. So it's always fantastic when people are sharing and giving a bit of word of mouth recommendation as well, because if you've ever studied marketing or looked at the, you know, powers of persuasion and Cialdini and all of that stuff, social proof is still right up there in terms of helping people make a decision about what to invest in and what to do. And so I really appreciate the kind of the shares and the recommendations. That is fantastic. And, you know, double thumbs up and thank you to the people who do share publicly as well, because, you know, I have had people accuse me of making up my testimonials because they are so mind-blowing and so amazing and so fantastic. And all I'm going to say to that is I just do not have the time to sit here writing fairy tales. So thank you to the people who also share publicly, because it's nice to be able to name someone and go, this is them, check them out, here's what they do. So that's wonderful. Keep in touch. If you've got any questions, if you've got any queries about anything I've touched on in this video, email me, marilyn@transformationstm.com, and that's on the screen. The website is transformationstm.com. My blog is marilyndevonish.com, and Devonish is DEV for Victor, ONISH, so marilyndevonish.com. Way to find me on social media is /Marilyn Devonish, and Marilyn is MARILYN, same spelling as in Marilyn Monroe. And on Instagram, that's the only one that's slightly different. It's the NeuroSuccess Coach. So keep in touch. Next steps, if you're watching this and the offers have already expired, because they all expire tomorrow if you're watching this in real time, 11:30 midnight UK time. Outside of that, all of the current offers, you know, when I do another offer of the month, or, you know, if there's an offer on photo reading, etc., they're always going to be on www.bit.ly/current offers TM. So that's where you'll find the current offer. Even if you're watching this in 5 years' time, there's probably going to be something new there. So sign up before the end of the month if you want to take advantage of the packages I've been talking about in this video. check your email inbox. Because you're booking through a different site, you're not doing it directly via the webinar platform, I will need to get you set up. But then have a look at your email inbox. You'll get your login link, your personalized access link, and then you have lifetime access to the online video webinar material. So keep an eye on your email inbox. So thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all wonderful rest of the morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are residing in this wonderful world. And, you know, one of the things I'm really excited about with taking the trainings that I do online is that it doesn't matter where you live. There are no global barriers. You can be anywhere in the world and take part in these trainings. So that I'm really, really excited about. So thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all later. Bye-bye.